Hello there folks, MJ Knight here, reporting to report on a story that's going around in the WWE. It has been reported via NoDQ.com that it is very likely at Elimination Chamber the WWE are going to unify the WWE United States Championship and the WWE Intercontinental Championship. There's a lot of people that think this is a good thing, and there's other people that don't see it as a good thing, and there's other people like me that are kind of indifferent. On the one hand, it will be one of the few remains of WCW disappearing once again. Because as we all know, when we had the Invasion saga all finished up in late 2001, the United States title was fused with the Intercontinental Championship at Survivor Series 2001. And then the WCW and the then World Wrestling Federation Tag Team Championships were fused together with the WCW Tag Team Championships. And then of course at Vengeance we had the WCW Championship and the World Wrestling Federation title fused to become the first Undisputed Championship. And I don't care what anyone says, it's not the WWE World Heavyweight title, it's the WWE Undisputed Championship. My opinion, my conviction, I'm sticking to it. But back to the matter at hand. I think it's been, like I say, on the cards for some time now. I mean, the Divas and women's titles were fused together. I personally think it should have stayed the women's, but, you know, it is what it is. The tag titles were fused back together, whilst the brand extension was still in effect, and we've only got one world champion. I think the next logical step would be to fuse the two mid-card belts together, but I would argue that, this is something I've said before, while we only need one mid-card title, we don't want to decrease opportunity. Now other people would say, but by decreasing the amount of belts they had, it will make people work harder. Yes, I agree on that front, but I, like so many other people, would like to see superstars get more opportunity. I still think, to this day, it was a ridiculous idea to retire the European and Hardcore Championships respectively. Now, although the Hardcore belt is probably not likely to see an appearance in modern WWE because it's not really a PG title, when you consider how extreme those matches became. I mean, some people only need to see an example of Hardcore Holly and Al Snow from St. Valentine's Day Massacre, from February 14th, 1999, which also saw Rock and Mankind in the first ever Last Man Standing match. That was brutal. And other matches, like for example, Al Snow versus the Big Boss Man from SummerSlam 99. That was different. But the European belt, I'd like to see return. I'd like to see that return because Triple H said in an interview that he would bring something back from the past. And I'm hoping that the European belt is brought back because the WWE needs a tertiary championship. Now, the European and Hardcore belt were considered as such. By only having the Undisputed title, the Intercontinental belt, the tag titles, and the Divas title, that's it. I do agree that, yeah, we need to get, I know I'm repeating myself on some points and I do apologise. I do agree that there should only be one mid-card belt, but my point would be simple. Just make the US title tertiary. Just make it a, you know, the third most important championship in the WWE. But if they're not going to do that, bring the European belt back. Or, I don't know, make a United Kingdom champion. Why not? Never seen it done before. Big E Langston, I think, is going to go places this year. I think the way that they've been promoting him as of late, he's not the most technical wrestler I've seen, but in terms of his strength and his athleticism, how could I put this? It's like he has the potential strength of Mark Henry, but he has the agility of Shelton Benjamin, who, in my honest opinion, was one of the most underrated and underused talent in the WWE. And I think it's ridiculous that he's not in the company anymore. Opinion only. And with Big E, he's young talent, he's fresh. I'm glad that they are starting to push him a bit more. His mic skills need a lot of work. But I do see potential, because although Ryback is never going to be a Rock, a Shawn Michaels, or a Chris Jericho, Ryback did improve his mic skills, so I could see the same happening for Big E Langston. Dean Ambrose has reigned dominant. Well, he's reigned as the US champion since last May, but how many times has he defended it? And that's the biggest problem I have at the moment in regards to, you know, mid-card belts and the tertiary belts. They're not defended enough. I mean, if this was 2004, 1999, those belts would be defended at least once a fortnight. Now we're lucky if they get defended once a month. It should be an intriguing match, because Big E and Dean Ambrose have very contrasting styles. Ambrose is a good ring technician, and Langston's just this very powerful and agile competitor. We're going to see an intriguing match. I am going to be sad to see the US title go. People say that the Intercontinental title has a lot more heritage. I will agree to that, but there's something quite attractive about the US title that they've got now. And I'm going to be honest, if I ever do get into collecting replica belts, that is the first one I want. When you consider the heritage of the US title from the likes of Ric Flair, Sergeant Slaughter, Steve Austin, Eddie Guerrero, MVP, Shelton Benjamin, as I mentioned earlier, he was a good US champion. Matt Hardy won it once, and Matt Hardy's another guy. They never pushed him to the fullest extent of his abilities and what he could win in the business. Kofi was a good US champion, never pushed him enough. That's a real dang shame. I mean, the Intercontinental Championship, it is prestigious when you consider the likes of Patterson, the Mountie, Bret the Hitman Hart, Owen Hart, Shawn Michaels, Honky Tonk Man, the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion to this day, Ultimate Warrior, Kane, Triple H, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, RVD. Jeff Hardy had quite a few numerous reigns as Intercontinental Champion. Cody Rhodes plays significance back onto that belt. Now, when I say this in a moment, I am not disrespecting the look of the Intercontinental Championship. I think it does look impressive with the old school look, with the white leather as the finish, but as I've stated before, I grew up in the Attitude Era, and I prefer the Attitude Era design. Like I say, I'm not disrespecting the classic IC belt look. Far from it. I just think the Attitude Era looking belt looks better. My opinion only. It is going to make the competition stiffer. I mean, there's a lot of talent that doesn't get used these days. But then again, with the amount of TV promos, in-ring segments, and Triple H taking as much monologuing as he does, and Paul Heyman's guilty of that by association, you know, it would be nice for a 3-hour show on Raw not so much SmackDown. I think SmackDown could only be a bit more competent by just focusing more on good matches and less on story. That's my 2 cents on it. But if the Intercontinental title gets defended once a week, if the titles do get unified together, then people are actually going to take notice. Triple H said it best once. Well, if it's important to that guy, I want it. And that's just the problem with the belts. Even the world title, there's no importance. It's more about the feuds with individual wrestlers, which is not the point of it. Steve Austin said in an interview a few years ago, what they need to do is have the championship belts tell the story. Have them be the importance for wrestling fans. Because, I'm going to be honest, the WWE title was almost an afterthought in Rock vs. Cena 2 from WrestleMania 29 last year. Whereas, if you go back to WrestleMania 14, I mean, yeah, Austin was having his feud and his rivalry with DX, Shawn Michaels, and Mike Tyson, but the one thing that he had his eye on the most was becoming World Wrestling Federation champion for the first time. And that is the whole point. They've got to get to a stage where these belts mean something. And I'm hoping whichever title gets kept, and at this stage I think it's looking likely that the Intercontinental Championship will be kept on. If it's defended once a week, then people are going to care not only about the wrestler, but they're going to care about, you know, what is supposed to be the second most important championship in the history of the WWE. And this is not, like I say, we've had title unifications before. It won't be the last time ever in WWE, but everybody knows when Eric Bischoff had the Intercontinental Championship unified with the World Heavyweight title between Kane and Triple H in a very questionable story. I only need to say that story from 2002 because no wrestling fan wants to talk about it, and I'm not going to talk about it here either. But that was unified. On Raw, there was only 2 championships that male superstars could go after, either the World Heavyweight title or the tag team titles. Now, if you're a tag team wrestler, you only want the tag team belts, but if you're not quite ready for the world title, you need to have something just to be able to go for it, and the Intercontinental Championship was that go-between. And of course, around Judgment Day, by the time it got to Judgment Day 2003, they had realised the company had made a mistake, because there was an outcry from fans saying, how could you retire this title? You know, this title that was held by the likes of Randy Savage, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, the Ultimate Warrior, Shawn Michaels, the Hearts, and The Rock and Jericho. It's like, how could you get rid of this belt? They brought it back in a Battle Royale at Judgment Day 2003, where Steve Austin would have had his first pay-per-view as co-GM, and the events of of what happened in that skybox was just as entertaining as what happened in the ring. But you had Christian become the first guy to hold the reactivated IC title, and to be fair, Christian needed that push at the time. And it was also when he got his current look. And to be fair, it suited him. Like I say, it'll probably be the IC title that's kept, and like I say, I'm kinda indifferent to the possibility of, you know, of what belt will be retired and returned to the vault, and which one will be kept on, because ideally I would just say to them, well, just make the US title drop down a level. That is what I would do. But this is not an ideal world, and neither is the WWE. But yeah, I will post a link in the description below, and you can then say what you feel about it, because like I say, it's been a long time coming, but I'm kind of on the middle of the fence about it. Anyway, thank you for your time, and enjoy the rest of your day.